Hey everybody, it's She Woke Up XJW, just coming on here. It's been about a minute since I have been here. Yes, once again, this is She Woke Up XJW. I am an apostate with capital A. So, anyways, I know some of you have missed me. You've been wondering where I've been, but I went back to college, and as if anybody knows, if you get on my YouTube channel, you'll see that I'm an ex-Jehovah's Witness. So Jehovah's Witnesses are discouraged from higher learning. We're discouraged from doing anything that has to do with education, except maybe a trade school. So, because the world's going to end and you have to do jobs that are menial, you cannot get involved in high ranking positions. You cannot be in the military. You cannot be in the Air Force. The police department. You cannot work in a position in the government if it has anything to do with patronizing our country. So, anyways, so college is one of those things. They don't want you to have higher learning. And what is funny as an ex-Jehovah's Witness is that Jehovah's Witnesses have a Bethel headquarters in Warwick, New York. They have people there who are attorneys. They went to school. And because the Jehovah's Witnesses are being sued so much for pedophile stuff, they have a lot of attorneys. And they have attorneys going to court from Australia, different parts of the world, to protect their name, because they think that they're doing everything right and the governments are coming down on them. So those are the things you learn in college about how to find reliable information. And so that was so eye-opening for me, the things that I learned. And that's what they don't want. They don't want you to go to college and learn things that is going to open your eyes to things that they're doing that are wrong. And as an apostate, I am totally out of that cult, and it is a cult. There are so many issues within the Jehovah's Witnesses, and it is sad because I was in for 32 years and maybe even a little longer, because I totally believed in everything that one thing is they preached when I was learning about it was the paradise, that God's going to destroy mankind and he's going to usher in a paradise. Everybody's been waiting for 200 years for this paradise, and so far nothing. In 1975 they thought the world was coming to an end. So there's different timelines that they believe this. So they don't want you involved in any sort of doing better for yourself, unless you want to be a window washer. You could be a window washer. You can have your own business. You could do cleaning. I used to have my own cleaning business. It was called Rosie to the Rescue. Everybody loved me. And that was while I was a Jehovah's Witness. Plus, I did out of the norm. I think that's why I never got parts on the assemblies. And as Jehovah's Witnesses, they meet every quarter or every year for conventions. I'm sure you've heard of them in some of the towns you might have lived in. But there's conventions where thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses gather to listen to Bible information, how to stay out of the world, how to not do this, how to not do that. Do everything that their governing body wants you to do. And if not, there are consequences. So out of the norm, as I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses in let's see, 2011, I went back to school. I decided I wanted to go to school. And my husband at the time, he was like, fine. He really didn't care what they said. So mind you, neither one of us ever got parts or special talks or anything at a convention or assembly. And that is a big deal. It is a big deal to be able to be on that stage or be in a drama or any of those things, you have to be in exemplary standing. And because I went back to college, I'm pretty sure that's why I wasn't offered anything on stage, because I took myself, my family, to meetings 3 days a week, faithfully, every Saturday service anytime. And if you're not a Jehovah's Witness, service is when they knock on your door, you go out and you record it. That's how they used to do it. Now they're not recording it, which is mind-blowing. Yes, mind-blowing. So it's like recording your mileage for a business, but you recorded it for them. Oh, I placed this book. I placed these Watchtower and Awake magazines. I spent 5 hours in service knocking door to door, or talking to people in the grocery store or wherever, getting conversations going, selling the religion. So, because they use the scriptures about Jesus saying you need to preach the good news of God's kingdom. Well, that is used as a selling point for the Bible, and it's really sad. They want you out there doing that. You don't make a penny. You scrape by in your life because you dedicate that to God. And at the time I was like, oh, okay, well then that's what I'll do. I'm giving God my all. That's the only way I'll get into paradise. If I don't give him every single bit of me day in and day out, he could destroy me later. So that's kind of the cult mentality in many cults. And a lot of them pull scriptures from the Bible and they fit it around their themes. So as Jehovah's Witnesses at the time when I was in, I have great experience in these stories. So if you want to interview me, you let me know. But anyways, and if any of you out there are PMOs, you're physically in, mentally out, or you are physically out, mentally in, please reach out. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to others in the YouTube community. You have any questions or you want me to message you and you're struggling, I am happy to chat with you, one-on-one, texting, whatever, to help you, because there are so many of us. I have about almost 1,300 followers on YouTube. I mean, not YouTube, but on TikTok. And, you kind of have to reach out to others to get them to hear your story or to go into your profile so they could see your story. So anyways, I've been writing a book too, and it's called Anguish of Mothers. So don't take that from me. That's my copyright, Anguish of Mothers. And it had to do with what I went through with being a Jehovah's Witness and losing my son and my mother. Now, mind you, my family was not witnesses. I came in when I met somebody, my first husband, when we were young at work, and I met his family, and then I eventually studied. So that's kind of like how it started. And I was going from religion to religion to religion. I was like searching for something positive. So to me, it felt like a positive environment. I remember pushing my son in there in his little stroller, and he'd be crying all the time in the Kingdom Hall, because in a Kingdom Hall, they don't call it a church. You sit with your children. And if you have babies, you're up and down to the bathroom and everybody's sitting there listening to these Bible talks and stuff, and it's like quiet. And so the babies disturb everybody. It was really stressful for me. I was so new as a witness. But anyways, with the college story, I know that him and my husband, he did pass away though, by the way. It was around COVID time. And he was of the anointed is what he said, but then he later became apostate before we split up, because we had split up later. And he said, I didn't want anything to do with you because you were a Jehovah's Witness. But anyways, we were together almost 20 years. So back to the topic of college. So I was in college from 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Because I had to take care of kids, I took my time to get my associate's degree. I really took my time because I had my grandchildren and we were raising them for a certain amount of time. And so I was raising them as witnesses to, and now that has changed. That's another topic. But so yeah, I was in and out of different colleges and later moved and then enrolled in another college. And recently, I am now valedictorian of the college I just went to. Tomorrow's the valedictorian or the class's graduation for 23-24. But unfortunately, I have a sick, very sick family member. And the school elected me valedictorian. There might be a couple. But they said, congratulations, you are valedictorian. So I'm supposed to go, get my cap and gown, get my medal. But I am 900 miles away. And I have a very sick family member. And I cannot leave her. And because I moved like in a pinch, because I'd gotten employment after I finished my externship and got employment right away, I had to leave the office I was in to come back up to the state that I am now in. And needless to say, I cannot make graduation. And because I changed my credit cards and all that stuff and moved, they're like, they treat you kind of like they don't know who you are, like you moved and you have a credit card. Oh, well, we got to put it on stop. So that happened to me. So I couldn't book my flight. And I had respite care that was going to take care of my family members. So I had that arranged. And so I was down the other day. I was kind of down. And I was like, but you know what? I'm still valedictorian. There's no change in that. And I'm very proud of the school I went to. And I actually went to a medical trade school where you're learning the medical billing and coding. And I loved it. Just loved it. So my future goal is possibly I could be doing that at home, billing for doctors and stuff. And that's one of my goals. So anyways, so I just wanted to come back and say, hey, I'm here. I am on TikTok. I am She Woke Up XJW on TikTok. It's still me. And I kind of get on there and do some crazy things with other people and try to bring joy, because I am kind of stagnant at home. I'm rambling, ain't I? She's a ramble girl. She's a ramble girl. And also, the other thing is I am now part of the LGBT community. And I hope that does not offend anybody, but I'm sorry if it does. But you guys are still my followers, and I want to tell you more of my story. Now, please go in and go back to some of the story about what happened to my son and my mother and some of my shunning experience, the disfellowshipping experience. But you know what blows my mind is that there are so many XJWs fighting against the Jehovah's organization, the Jehovah's Witness organization. And I want to be a part of that always. I always want to be a part of that because it brings me joy. And now that I know what I know about the abuse of children and how it had been ongoing, oh, that just pisses me off. That just pisses me off. I am just livid about it, and I have been for years since I woke up. And so if you are just joining my channel, it is She Woke Up XJW. I am an ex-Jehovah's Witness. I call myself an apostate because I am against the Jehovah's Witness behavior and the hiding of pedophiles. And I want to talk about that a minute here. So the pedophiles, this is how they're hidden. And I don't care what they do or what the governing body, they are the leaders of the Jehovah's Witness organization. I don't care what they do to try to hide this. But this is how it happens. Let's say there's a 12-year-old child, goes to the elders, which are men, and says, hey, so-and-so, this ministerial servant or elder or my dad touched me in an inappropriate way. They will talk to the child alone. The parents are never there. The perpetrator is not there. And they will say, okay, we will investigate it. Now, there is no calling the police. There is no getting anybody involved. Okay? Because, many of us work in positions of jobs where we are required, if we know, like if you work for a school district, you're required by law, even if you suspect abuse, to at least report it. Because you are required to do that. Because you're not sure that children just don't talk. They really, honestly, they're not always going to talk if the abuse is ongoing and they've been threatened by the perpetrator. So if that, back to my example, when the elders investigate that, they bring that perpetrator, that supposedly perpetrator, and they talk to him. And of course, the perpetrator denies it. And when, in any time, does a perpetrator do something to a child so everybody can see it? No. They want to control the victim. So in Jehovah's Witnesses organization, they do not take that into account. They do not take it into account. They go by the 2-witness rule in the Bible. So once again, we're playing this scenario. The child says something to the elders investigate it. They talk to the perpetrator denies it. Rarely are they going to admit it. And even if they do, the elders will not turn them into the authorities. They will not. And that's worldwide. That is not just in the United States. So if you are just joining my channel, I'm talking about how the Jehovah's Witness organization does not protect children and telling a little bit of my story. So in that scenario, once again, you're going to have that's kind of the process. Then they'll get back. By then, the child might have said something to the parents. The elders might meet with the parents. The parent or the elders will meet with the child and say, well, did somebody else see it? How did they touch you? What did they do? What were you wearing? And they ask all these very deep questions. And if it's a girl, they never bring in a woman to make her feel comfortable. Okay? Because I had a family member in my life, and they had that situation happen to them where there was abuse. And this was a close family member. And it wasn't like mom, dad, or whatever. And that similar thing happened. But they're like, it's he said, she said. Or he said, that situation. And it is used in court, in courts too. But nowadays it's taken a lot more serious, and they'll do more investigation when a child comes up and says, hey, this happened to me and I'm scared. Or we recognize the abuse, or we suspect abuse, we turn it in. So Jehovah's Witnesses are not going to call authorities. They will take all their notes, usually 2 elders or 3, with that child, with those parents, or with that pedophile, and they write all of that down. They are required to send it to New York, their information. Where that information goes? Down the black hole. Because the authorities today have a hard time getting that information. And they do put it in their books for the elders to get rid of that information, just in case the authorities come to a kingdom hall. So let's say that 12-year-old finally admits, so scared, so upset, so hurt, in fear, doesn't want that perpetrator to touch them again, does not want anything to happen, they are not going to get protection from the elders at all. And most of the time, that child is told, well, we really need to know if someone else saw it. But even in the meantime of all of that, that child is still feeling hurt and not protected. And the elders, this is one of the scriptures that the governing body has stemmed down from the Bible, how the elders are like a hiding place from the wind. So you know how wind is, and it can blow really hard, and it could be like Chicago. It can be harsh. So they're supposed to be a hiding place from the wind, a protection. They are not a protection because they listen to the governing body at Walk Hill, New York. And any other Bethel that's in Africa, Australia, China, wherever, okay? And if it's in a communist country, it's underground. They tell them what to do. The whole sheep flock, this is how you do it, okay? And if you decide that you're going to go against that, like let's say that 12-year-old child, the parents are livid. They are upset about what happened to their child, and the elders are doing nothing. And that perpetrator is still coming to those congregation meetings, and Jehovah's Witnesses have congregation meetings throughout the week. They want everybody to attend. Unless you're sick, then you see it on Zoom. But that perpetrator is still coming to the Kingdom Hall because of the 2-witness rule. Okay? That perpetrator's still in there. And that Jehovah's Witnesses claim to be family oriented. So there's children everywhere. Grandparents raising children, mom and dad having 3 or 4 kids. That perpetrator's in there. Okay? So, even though they've talked to him, those elders will not call the police, and they will not turn him in for suspected abuse. They're not going to do it. Period. Because they say it reflects on God's name, Jehovah. Well, you know what? That's bullcrap. Those children will be scarred for life because of that abuse. Even if they told the perpetrator, well, you just, maybe we'll move you, like, we'll have you go to a different come in at a different time. We'll have a meeting at 4. You come in at that 4 o'clock one. All they're doing is shuffle them around. Or they put them in another congregation. Still, if that perpetrator was an upstanding person in that congregation, and there's no proof that he abused that child, he still can stay in good standing. Sorry, didn't realize the gardeners were coming. So anyways, it's just terrible situation. And because of the penitent privilege for many religions, this really affects children. It affects so many children. And it really needs to change. The government needs to change it. They need to stop protecting religion when there's abuse. And let's say that the perpetrator admits to it. That person will lose their privileges if there's an admittance, but still will be allowed to come into the congregation where that child goes. If the parents keep the child there, or if the parents' family stays. They might not go out in the door-to-door service, because that perpetrator will not be able to go out in the door-to-door service, which we call it as Jehovah's Witnesses. And once again, if you are watching my video, I am She Woke Up XJW, and I am talking about the pedophile situation in the JW organization. Now, I have lived some of this stuff, and I know for a fact that they do not protect you. They do not protect children. They do not protect women who are abused by their husbands. They do not. You have to get up the nerve to leave. You might leave everything behind and have nothing and leave with your children with no protection from the elders, no protection from the congregation. And they say Jehovah takes care of us. No, it's not true. It's a bunch of crap. They don't. Because they want to find out what the wife did wrong. What did the wife do wrong? Maybe she deserved it. Or maybe she's not being a good enough wife. So you think about that. I want you to share my video with Bible studies. You have a family member who's studying with Jehovah's Witnesses. You need to share my video. Please do that. Because if you got any questions, I'll let you know about it. Okay, I'm going to let you go. I know I haven't been on here in a while, and I apologize. But life happens. So anyways, I got my LGBTQIA bracelets on. This one says diversity. So I am a supporter, and I myself am a part of the LGBTQ community. So anyways, I just want to say thank you for joining me. Please share my video. Please share my video. Hi to all my XJW friends, and I watch you guys all the time. I am there. So anyways, please join me on TikTok. I am on TikTok, kind of playing around, having a good time when I feel like it, and that's what's fun about life, is you do things when you're in the moment to do them. So, and reach out to me. I miss some of you. We used to talk correspondently. And remember, if you have been through this type of a situation, there are statute of limitations. Do not always expire for child abuse, even when you were young. So you could do it if you want to go to court and take that person to court. I bet you'd win. And the triumph is that person gets their ass locked up in jail. They deserve it. They don't need to be out in society. They need to be in jail. And to leave you with that note, I'm proud of you. Okay? You got this. And I love you. If you are a Jehovah's Witness and you're going through something, or you are a young adult and you're going through something, I've been there. Okay? I've been there. And I know friends who have been there. And if you want to leave when the time comes, you leave. Be free, okay? Be free from the organization, because it is a cult. And I'm sorry that they guard you like a guard dog. But you got this. You can be strong, okay? You can survive it. Many of us have been through stuff. You can survive it. And I'm a mother. I am a grandmother. And I am a friend. So I'm going to let you go and let you know I am here for you, okay? Anytime. You send me a message on here, and if you're having a hard time, we can talk. All right. Peace out. Love you.